The storm of an exciting rematch in the lightweight flyweight division is brewing in Oaxaca, Mexico. The IBF World Light Flyweight belt is at stake yet again between Sivenathi Nontshinga and Adrian Curiel Dominguez, as Nontshinga gets ready to reclaim his belt with all the fury in the world that he can channel. Both boxers have geared up for war and are not willing to give up any ground. Make no mistake, this is set to be a high-caliber bout going 12 rounds, just like their previous match, which ended in a second-round KO victory for Dominguez. For these young lions of the sport, it's going to be one of the most important fights in their career. South Africa's own. Sivenathi Nontshinga was born on December 3, 1998, in the Nontshinga township of Eastern Cape, South Africa. He was brought up in a rural livelihood, primarily surviving on raising and selling chickens. Nevertheless, his family ensured the best for him as much as they could. From a young age, Nontshinga showed a keen interest in boxing. His father, Thembani Gofini, had experience in the past as a boxer, and thus, he became his trainer. Details of his teenage years and his experience with amateur boxing cannot be found on the internet, but Nontshinga has said this about his time in the life in a recent interview. "I've always brought something different to the other young kids, even when I was growing up. So yes, I feel like I'm a little bit different and unique, because I have this ability to just throw the right hand and make sure that he's down on the canvas." It appears that under his father's guidance, he continued training and competing with an aggressive modality. The amateur competition that he entered during this time certainly showed that he could tear up the ring like no one else in South Africa. After all, South African boxers have tended to remain low-key and confined. It's obvious that someone with Nontshinga's speed and tenacity would stand out. It wasn't long before he came to realize that boxing would define his life. As such, with his father's blessings, he made his professional debut on July 30 of 2017 at the age of 18. He defeated Sandeli Wessels in a third-round finish in East London. That's East London in South Africa, and not East London in London, United Kingdom. Either way, it didn't take long for him to impress fans and press with his performances. After 4 stoppages in his first 4 fights, he was soon recognized as a promising teen sensation in South Africa. In only his 5th pro fight, he defeated Taseto Modisadif for the vacant African light flyweight title. On April 7, 2019, he then scored a first-round knockout over Adam Yaaha to win the vacant IBF International lightweight title in Port Elizabeth. In his first title defense, Nontshinga defeated fellow South African Sayabongo Sio, a fighter he idolized growing up. He defeated his hero with a barrage of hard punches, leading up to a satisfying beatdown. From then on, the world was his to claim. His first pro fight outside South Africa took him to Mexico, where he faced Hector Flores Calito for the very same IBF belt that he has to fight for again now. The fight went all 12 rounds, and Nontshinga won by a close split decision, narrowly outboxing Calito and winning with a simple points lead. After defending his belt from Regis Subnap in South Africa, he was the local sports media's poster child. Before the fateful showdown with Adrian Curiel Dominguez, he was seen off by a large media crowd and a cheering crowd. The dream was broken, unfortunately, in a shocking second-round KO. But there's no reason to back out on young Nontshinga now. After the media signaled a turnoff, his promoter, Nontshinga Natella, rallied in his support. "My responsibility is to bring him back and make him a world champion again." Big shout out to Rumble Africa Promotions CEO, Nontshinga Natella, particularly for the support before, during, and after the fight. It was the first loss in his career, but he's determined to ensure that it's nothing that he can't get over. Looking for another beatdown. Adrian Curiel Dominguez was born on January 12, 1999 in Mexico City, Mexico. This is where we like to tell you a lot about how he navigated his childhood and found his way into the sport of boxing. Unfortunately, there isn't much public information about his early life or his amateur boxing career. What is indeed known is that after a brief but highly intense stint as an amateur, just like every good Mexican boxer, he came to terms with the fact that his life is slated to revolve around boxing. As for his professional career, Dominguez turned professional in 2016. For the next 2 years, his calm and tactical head was on full display, as he guided the 4- and 6-round boxing matches that he had during this time into boxing victories. Understandably, compared to Sivenathi Nontshinga, the competition for prospects in Mexico was rather harsh. Not only that, Dominguez's rather calm style of fighting was certainly destined to not get him much in the way of attention. A loss in 2018 to Daniel Valladares, and further losses to Sergio Mejia and Joselito Velasquez in 2019 stood the way for an earlier rise into the international scene and out of the local Mexican scene. However, the young Dominguez kept his tempo consistent and packed full of fights. His final loss in 2021 to Christian Gonzalez Gomez was followed by 7 impressive victories and 1 draw before having his first duel with Sivenathi Nontshinga. His back-to-back knockout victories over Ivan Garcia Carrillo and then Nontshinga himself may signify the birth of a new dimension to Dominguez's fighting. Not only that, he was able to showcase this with a shocking victory in which he was seen as a clear underdog in his first fight outside Mexico. Even though he has 4 losses already on his record, if he wins the rematch to defend his belt, his career will be one to watch. Maybe then we'll know a lot more about his early life. So far, his record stands thus. He has a total of 29 fights with 24 wins, 5 by knockout, 4 losses, and 1 draw. Fighters compared. Sivenathi Nontshinga is known for being an excellent and precise puncher from his orthodox stance. Boasting a strong knockout record, with 9 of his 12 wins coming by way of knockout, he is particularly known for being aggressive. His energetic style of movement and impactful striking ability played a significant role in heightening his media reception and popularity within South Africa. Since he began his professional career, he has regularly finished his opponents off with rather brutal and fast combinations, leading to KOs or TKOs. When necessary, he has shown an ability to remain patient and calm, softening up his opponents and shaking their resolve slowly through effective counterpunching tactics. Managing such power and speed within the light flyweight bracket with such a high skill ceiling is what led him to become the IBF light flyweight world champion, having held the belt from September 2022 to November 2023. Adrian Curiel Dominguez, on the other hand, is a Mexican professional boxer who has held the International Boxing Federation IBF light flyweight title since November 2023. To be able to take the belt away from Nontshinga, he surely brings forward some advantages that remained insurmountable for Nontshinga. Like Nontshinga, Dominguez also fights in an orthodox stance. However, he has a more balanced record, with 19 of his 24 wins coming by decision. Where Nontshinga would apply relentless pressure and really look to hurt his opponents, Dominguez is known for his resilience and a tactical approach to fighting. He's more inclined to take his time in slowly filling his opponents out. Like many Mexican boxers, Dominguez brings forth supreme body conditioning to be able to shrug off hard hits, and backs it up with good stamina. This allows him to remain calm and focus on outboxing and outpointing his opponents gradually throughout all rounds. However, he has been developing a lot like Canelo in the sense that when appropriate, he will put his body and strength to use behind devastating knockout hits. Such was what he displayed against none other than Nontshinga himself that saw him take the IBF belt away from him. The defeat has definitely awoken a hidden beast within Sivenathi Nontshinga. Before the fight, interviews had him talk at length about his aspirations and dreams related to defending his belt and going forward from that point on. The shocking second-round KO loss to Dominguez has rearranged his timeline drastically. In the interview, he said, "It's not just about me. It's about my country and Africa as a whole. I am the only credible world champion here. I've been boxing for 12 years now. I started boxing when I was young. I'm 24 years old. Already had my first defense and gunning for more defenses and more titles. I want to be a multi-weight world champion. The question of who wins the rematch looks to be decided by who becomes complacent and who doesn't. Will Nontshinga avenge his crushing defeat? Or will Dominguez prove his superiority one more time? Leave us a like and subscribe. We'll see you again when the dust settles on the canvas."